guess is, and that's on my chest. Miss Spivey is the best, and I can't take credit, I just happen to be blessed. I got a message to share, listen if you dare. Don't follow the shadows, look up and see clear. I swear it's like Plato's allegory of the cave. How can I free people who choose to be slaves? I try until they put me in the grave. I promise the world I save. I'm focused. Welcome to the Rising Spivey Show. I'm your host, Miss Chanel Spivey. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. It's the second season, the first episode of the second season, and I have a great topic. But before we get to that, I just have to say thank you to everybody that makes this happen. Thank you to my team. Thank you to Brian, my wonderful co-host. Thank you, Denard. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Jessica, for the hair. Thank you, Shamir, for the makeup. And thank you, Dominic, for this beautiful outfit. I got a bunch of great people working with me. Thank you all. To my viewers, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your kind emails, showing me support. I mean, I can't get enough of it. And now I want to thank myself for being so fly and for having the courage to jump out the window and start my own television show. You know, when I created the Rising Spivey Show, I wanted a show that was about issues that mattered to me. I wanted to talk about things that I felt my community was not discussing. And today, we're going to talk about something that is very important: motherhood in the new millennium. Two very important things, subtopics in this issue. Number one, single motherhood, and number two, teen pregnancy.
How old are you?
14.
14. Date of birth?
9893.
9893.
Okay. So,
You're probably personality.
So we're just going to go back in. So we're going to do, for me, it's a public health issue. Part of it is because I and people like me have not done a good enough job at educating, haven't done a good enough job at getting birth control out there.
6 years ago, I was 19 years old, and I became pregnant with my beautiful Kenzie. Now, children are blessings whenever they come, however God gives them to you. We are very happy and blessed to have them. But having a child so young put me in a tough spot in my life. I was still growing up, so I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I think it would be irresponsible of me to not share my story. Number one, to encourage young ladies to hold on to their virginity. I want to encourage abstinence. And number two, I want to encourage other young women who have beautiful blessings a little bit too early to continue to shine and live out your dreams no matter what. I can't cover this important topic alone. I have some great people to help me. Dr. John Niles has been delivering babies for 40 years. Former mayor of D.C., Marion Barry, looked to this man to chair an important research committee that studied the social ramifications of teen pregnancy, which contributed to the high infant mortality rate in the district. He's going to share his knowledge and his expertise with us. Christina Stewardvant is the founder of Dream Life, a nonprofit that strives to teach young mothers the importance of being well-educated, work-oriented, and emotionally stable to create lifelong success for themselves as well as their families. She's here to tell us more about her organization and her experience as a young mother. Stephanie Lindo is a student at Bowie High School. She and I will chat about peer pressure and setting boundaries as well as goals. I also get to sit down with some great people. Miss Trevon Brunson and Adam Butler from Mindstream Radio will add to this discussion. I really did pour my heart into this episode. I hope that you not only enjoy it, but you learn something from it too. My first question was why? What do you think is going on? Why are we continuing to see so many young ladies, despite the information being out there, despite us knowing that we shouldn't, get pregnant at young ages? Why? What happens?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's an issue of poverty, for one thing, socioeconomic changes. You find the highest incidence in teen pregnancy or young adult pregnancy is in African American women. You don't see it in Asian women. I mean, it was the last time I've seen an Asian teenager. Never. It's cultural, it's socioeconomic. So the population that we're seeing has a particular problem in terms of access to care. If you don't have health insurance, you can't get in to get the birth control pills.
Universal health care is one of the biggest debates in America. America's children are not receiving the preventative health care that they need. The University of California studied 8,500 adolescents between the ages of 10 and 17 in a survey and found that only 38% of them received preventative health care within the last year. Universal health care would ensure that all citizens will have access to care regardless of wealth or status. Perhaps then, more young women will have access to contraceptives.
You have a situation in which if a pregnancy does occur, many times a young lady will conceal it until it's too far along, that if someone wanted to have a termination, which I don't approve of, but some people do have that option. But again, that becomes a socioeconomic issue of the availability of health care and the concept culturally that this is something that's okay. Many times we find that mothers initially are repulsed by the idea of their daughter being pregnant, but then once she is pregnant, then they're very supportive because they're going to be the grandmother, and it seems as though they have a chance to live it over again and try to help the child. The bottom line is that particular child is going to end up in poverty no matter what the situation is. You have a teenager who has a baby, is not married, doesn't have the financial resources, that child is going to be in poverty. Maybe the mother, the teenage mother may not be because she's got support from her family. But if you look down the road, you got 90% of the men in prison in this country, it's been documented, evidence-based documentation, are the sons of teenage mothers, period.
90%?
90%, yes.
Wow.
Then you have, on the other hand, you got the teenage mother who had a child at 15, and invariably you'll find a grandmother at 34, at 30. It's the same pattern, goes through generation.
The media has such a huge influence over society. Unfortunately, it's not always a good influence. Most mainstream hip-hop and R&B music seems to glorify promiscuity, and you cannot watch the television without someone adding sex to a program or to a commercial to sell us some product. I asked Dr. Niles about the media's influence and its effects on teen pregnancy and single motherhood.
The sex that's put on television, the things in the media, the reality shows, this teen pregnancy reality show.
For most American teens, high school is about having fun. But for these 6 girls, high school will not be the same. From MTV. 16 and pregnant.
I have a 13-year-old, and unfortunately she watches that. And I say, well, why are you watching it? Oh, it's interesting. So, you know, whether she feeds on that and that will make her influenced by seeing those programs, I'm not sure. But when you have Sarah Palin's daughter dancing on the stars, all glitzy and everything, and then she is described as a teen advocate. I mean, she's just an unwed mother.
What if I didn't come from a famous family? What if I didn't have all their support? What if I couldn't finish my education? What if I didn't have all these opportunities? Believe me, it wouldn't be pretty. Pause before you play.
So you work in media at a radio station, mainstream radio. Tell me about what do you feel the media's influence is on young adults to be sexually active?
It's happy. Sex sells. I mean, you know, you look at, and I hate to keep bringing up the same people, but you look at Nicki Minaj, Lil' Kim, even Foxy Brown. You know, they all had to sell sex, and there's plenty of female artists, actresses, or whoever that, you know, can't get on because they won't go that route. So it definitely sells. It's definitely, I would say, the most important thing for a female artist or actress. I would hate to say, but it's the truth.
It's the truth.
In the society that we live in, sex sells. I mean, I don't need to reiterate the fact that sex sells. We see it every day. We walk out of our doors and we see it. We turn on the television and we see it. We listen to the radio and we see it. It's a lot of influence towards the female that you have to put yourself in a place where you're exposing yourself, or that's viewed as being pretty, or, you know, that's viewed as being the way to go. You got to look like Nicki Minaj, or you have to look like the Little Kims just to get some type of attention. And I think it sends the wrong message to females because we're all beautiful, but your beauty becomes inside out. And I think the media plays a significant part in shaping the mind frame of females by basically saying, in order for you to be considered sexy or beautiful or pretty, you have to show your body. And of course, what does that do? That turns the male on. So what does that do? That gets the hormones going, and then that leads to what? The intercourse. So then we have teenage pregnancy.
Breaking news out of the Fraser community this evening. The Action News 5 investigators have discovered 90 girls who attend Fraser High School are now pregnant or have already had a baby this school year.
At Fraser High School, excellence is our expectation, no excuses. The motto could prove difficult to live up to for 90 girls who have either had a baby or who are expecting. Fraser High currently serves 800 students, meaning 11% of the student body is already experiencing the trials of parenthood. It's a Title I school. Fraser receives federal dollars based on the number of kids from low-income families who qualify for free or reduced lunch. Nearly 100% of the students qualify. Such a high rate of pregnancy at one school is dire, but sources tell Action News 5 there is a massive initiative in the works dedicated to preventing teen pregnancy in the Fraser community. The initiative will include after-school and in-school programs funded with grant money run by a local nonprofit that already does some work for city schools. A $250,000 ad campaign targeted at the Fraser community based on research done in focus groups at the school. A federally funded component that works on the responsibility of young men will be operated through a Memphis hospital. And the city of Memphis is also a partner and could offer some support, possibly through the Social Innovation Fund. While those 90 students will not benefit from such a highly targeted pregnancy prevention initiative, it could truly give future generations of Fraser High School students an expectation of excellence, no excuses, and no worries about parenting.
She'll probably be sleepy.
Terica Sutton is getting used to the challenges of being a teen mom. Her 2-month-old daughter Kamaya definitely keeps the 16-year-old Fraser High student busy.
In the morning time, she'll wake me up about 5, and I get up and find me something to wear to school, and I get her dressed. If she goes somewhere, like her dad to keep her sometimes.
Terica says she was 5 months along when she found out she was pregnant. Her parents and classmates were stunned.
They was like, Turk, I never knew you would get pregnant. And I was like, well, it happened.
I asked Terica why so many girls like her at Fraser High are ending up pregnant.
Some girls try to do it because they think it's cute. Some be an accident.
So you think these girls are making agreements with each other to kind of see who, you think it's an agreement or it's a pact or?
They probably is. They probably plan it, like plan what they gonna do to get pregnant. And no telling.
Terica says educators need to do more to try to help prevent teen pregnancies.
They need a class where they can teach like the girls before they get pregnant and use protection and stuff, and don't try to get pregnant.
Is there peer pressure? Do young kids feel like they are pressured to be sexually active? If you have a boyfriend or if you had a boyfriend, is there pressure to be physical with him?
I mean, I guess it depends on the people you hang around. Like, if your friends have the same morals and ideals you have, they're more on the side of don't do it. It's